Good afternoon, everyone. Let us start.
Welcome, sir.
Today, let us learn a new chapter 3, Water Resources. Now I shall share my screen. So here we have chapter 3, Water Resources. This chapter will be assessed in periodic tests only. Okay, this chapter will not be asked in the CBC exam. Here we have a dialogue between Pinky and Chintu. Okay, so here you may read it. Did you see those awesome TV reports on flood in Assam? My God, what havoc they have created. It has destroyed and swept away everything in its path. Okay, this is about flood in Assam. Okay, and this is a dialogue between Pinky and Chintu. Then Chintu replied, okay, I did. Isn't it strange that water can give life and take life as well? So water gives us life. We cannot survive without water. At the same time, it also takes our life, as mentioned here. Okay, is mentioned here. And what would we do without water? So here, this section tells the importance of water in our daily life. Okay. See here, I think you also will be knowing we need water to drink, cook our food, wash our clothes, and wash ourselves as well. Okay, and my father was telling me that in his factory they need a lot of water for a number of things. Okay, see in the factory also we need water for cooling purposes. Here is mentioned here. Okay, for example, iron steel industry. In iron steel industry, we need fresh water, clean water for cooling the steels. Okay, that means we need water. Okay, for different purposes. To drink, to cook our food, to wash clothes and ourselves. Then it is also used in the factories for processing and for cooling purposes also. Okay, so these are the usefulness of water. Okay, at the same time, see here hydropower. Actually, spelling is wrong, but see here we get power from the hydropower plants. Okay, so these are the different uh, purposes, usefulness of water, and that is why see that is why uh, through the ages humans have chosen to live near the water courses along the rivers, then other water sources like springs, lakes, ponds, and oases. That is why human beings have been settled nearby the river banks, then nearby the shores of springs or on the shores of lakes, ponds, or oases. Do you know oasis? An area in the desert where water is available, okay, that is known as oasis. So people settle nearby the oasis. So that is about the importance of water. Now let us go to the text. And you have already learned in the previous classes, in the lower classes, that 3/4 of the earth surface is covered with water. Okay, 71%, around 71%, or 3/4 of the earth surface is covered with water, but only a small proportion of it accounts for fresh water. Say for example 2.5%, okay, is for that means fresh water shares only about 2.5% of the total volume of water found on the earth's surface. And you know that this fresh water is mainly obtained from the surface runoff, that is from the streams, okay, rivers, then groundwater that is continually being renewed and recharged through the hydrological cycle. We know that water is a renewable resources, and it is renewed, okay, through the hydrological cycle. Can any one of you tell me about hydrological cycle? Yes. Okay, I will tell you. So this diagram explains about the hydrological cycle. Okay, see here, from the water bodies there is evaporation. Okay, maybe from the oceans or from the lakes we have evaporation. Then after that there will be condensation process, cloud will be formed, and a cloud may be moved on the lane also, over the lane also. Okay, here condensation is taken place. Then after that there will be a precipitation. Okay, there will be rainfall or snowfall. Precipitation is here. After that, see here runoff. Okay, so when rainfall is there, then water will be flowing down the slope, that is known as a runoff, and this will form a river, and the river again will flow towards the lakes or towards the sea. Okay, or towards the sea. And here also there may be runoff. Okay, and some of the water will be absorbed. Okay, the rainwater will be absorbed, then the lake water will be absorbed and will go underground and will be as a groundwater. And you must know that groundwater is also flowing towards the sea. Okay, depending on the slope of the lane, or depending on the type of landform, and ultimately the groundwater will also reach the sea. So in this way water is renewed. Okay, and this is what I call hydrological cycle. Are you clear? This is known as hydrological cycle. Okay, and all water moves within the hydrological cycle, ensuring that water is a renewable resource. Okay, and you may be wondering that if 3/4 of the world is covered with water, water is a renewable resource, then how is it that the countries and regions around the globe suffer from water scarcity? Still we find water scarcity, okay, on the globe. Not only on the earth surface, we also find water scarcity in our country also. In some regions, in some states we have enough water, in some states or region we have scarcity of water. but we have known that 3/4 of the earth's surface is covered with water. Then why is it that there is water scarcity in some regions? Let us try to find out. Okay, and one more information before we proceed. It is predicted that by 2025, nearly 2 billion people will live in absolute water scarcity. So nearly 2 billion people will be affected by the shortage of water by 2025. So this is an information. Okay. After that, we have this lesson topic, water scarcity and need for water conservation and management. So today we shall discuss about, okay, the causes of water scarcity. Why is there shortage of water? So let us find out. So given the abundance and the renewability of water, it is difficult to imagine that we may suffer from a water scarcity. We have known that 3/4 of the earth's surface is covered with water. That means we have enough water on our surface, and we also have known that water is a renewable resource, and that is why it would be very difficult to imagine that we may suffer from the water scarcity. Water scarcity means a shortage of water, okay, when we need it. And the moment we speak of water shortages, we immediately associate it with regions having low rainfall, or those that are prone to drought. Okay, when we talk about shortage of water in India, we immediately associate it. We immediately visualize the regions in India where there is low rainfall, or those areas which are drought prone. Okay, so we instantaneously visualize the desert of Rajasthan, and women balancing many mud cars, that is earthen pots used for collecting and storing water, and traveling along distances to get water. In the next page you will find a photograph about that. Okay, and true availability of water resources varies over space and time. The availability of water varies over space and time. That means varies over space means it differs from place to place. In some regions we have enough water, and in other regions we don't get water. That is, we have scarcity water. That means availability of water resources varies over space, and varies over time means see, in some months we may get rainfall, in other months we don't get rainfall. So in this way there is variation, okay, in the availability of water, fresh water, from time to time. Okay, that is known as temporal variation. And you must know that shortage of water in India is mainly due to the variations in the seasonal and the annual precipitation. So this is a number one cause, okay, for water scarcity. Scarcity water in India is mainly due to the variations in the seasonal and the annual precipitation. As you know that India enjoys monsoon type of climate, and in the monsoon type of climate only this rainfall concentrates only in 4 months, that is June, July, August, September. Okay, and the remaining months are almost dry. And so because of the seasonal variation in the rainfall, as well as the annual precipitation, also see about the nature of the monsoon, sometimes monsoon also gives enough rainfall in 1 year, while in the other years, maybe due to the El Nino event, there may be a failure of the monsoon. Okay, and thus differing in the amount of rainfall annually. And that is why in some years we may find less amount rainfall, and while in the other years we find enough rainfall. So that is why it is said that shortage of water in India is mainly due to the variations in the seasonal and the annual precipitation. Okay, but water scarcity in most cases in India is caused by the over exploitation. This is another cause of this water scarcity. In some other cases, water scarcity is caused by the over exploitation, that is excessive use, okay, by the urban people as well as by these industries. And another important cause of water scarcity is unequal access to water among different social groups. So this is the third cause of water scarcity in India. Unequal access to water among different social groups. What does it mean? Can you explain me? What does it mean, boys and girls? Unequal access to water. Okay, just see here. In case of India, see we have this caste system in some places. And for example, this is a village pond. This is a village pond, okay. And imagine if see some section of the people, low caste people, are not allowed to fetch water from this village pond. That means that there is water scarcity for that particular section of the people. Again, let me repeat, if some low caste people are not allowed to fetch water from this village pond, that means those section of the people have scarcity of water, and that is what we call unequal access to water among different social groups. Okay, and about the this unequal distribution of rainfall, that is spatial variation in the rainfall. So we let us examine this map of India showing annual rainfall. I think you may be remembering. So this is the map taken out from class 9 textbook. And just see here. Here, if we see the index, just see here. This set, the lightest one, represents rainfall between 0 to 20 centimeters. Okay, this technique is known as tinting method, and we find here in the extreme western part of Rajasthan, here in this area, the amount rainfall is very, very low, and that is why we have scarcity water here in the Rajasthan desert. And the next we have the next level 20 to 40 centimeters, and here again we find the middle part of the, okay, a large tract of Rajasthan here, the central part of Rajasthan, then the western part of this Gujarat, okay. And next we have this 40 to 60 centimeters, and here you will find the eastern part of Rajasthan and the rain shadow area. See here, rain shadow area of the Western Ghats. So in these areas generally we find this scarcity water because there is shortage of rainfall. Okay, see here in these places, and here actually whole this area, in this area we find this scarcity water. Okay, and the remaining places, okay, the remaining places we have manageable one. Okay, depending if we observe the amount rainfall carefully, then here, see here, the western slopes of the Western Ghats, and see here Meghalaya Plateau. But you will be knowing, okay, in the coming passages that in some places there may be enough rainfall, at the same time there will be a scarcity water. Okay, So any question, boys and girls? Yes, boys and girls, any question? And here this figure number, okay, 3.1 shows water scarcity in different places in India. See here. So this photograph shows uh, about a scene, okay, of water scarcity. See, a Kashmiri earthquake survivor carries water uh, in the snow in a devastated village. See here, this is a kind of precipitation. Snowfall is a kind of precipitation, but we cannot use it directly. And that means, okay, there is scarcity of water. Then, what do you know from this photograph? See here, water is everywhere. Just read the text, okay? Water everywhere, but not a drop to drink. What does it mean? And what is the boy doing here? Yes, what is the boy doing here? Water everywhere, not a drop to drink. Yes. See here there is flood, okay? There is flood in Kolkata, but we know that flood water, we cannot use flood water, we cannot drink flood water because it is contaminated with bacteria and many other microorganisms. Okay, and that is why this little boy is fetching water from the pipelines. That means here, okay, we have water, but we have shortage of water. Okay, so because of flood, so this is one scene, and another one is here. So this is a scene of this water scarcity in Rajasthan. See here, women are standing in queue with matkas. Okay, actually these are not matkas, these are metal pots. Okay, so let us continue. So another important cause of water scarcity is given here. Water scarcity may be an outcome of large and a growing population. Another important cause of water scarcity is the increase in the number of population. See here, when there is increase in the number of population, okay, uh, there will be consequent demands of water. There will be greater demands for water and unequal access to it. And see, when there is more population, then more mouths are there for drinking, for eating. And at the same time, there may be unequal access to it. As I explained you earlier, just see here, a large population requires more water, not only for domestic use but also for to produce more food. If the population is increasing, it implies that we need more water for drinking, we need more water for bathing and other purposes. Not only these, we also need water to produce more food for the larger number of population. Hence, to facilitate higher food grain production, water resources are being overexploited to expand irrigated areas for dry season agriculture. To expand irrigation, okay, in the dry areas, water, the surface as well as the groundwater resources are overexploited, and that is why we have the shortage or the scarcity water in some places. Okay, then see, in some places, in the rural areas, you may find that each farmer has their own wells and tube wells in their farms. You will find in Punjab also, okay, for irrigation to increase their produce. So in some places in India, okay, the farmers own their wells and tube wells in their farms for irrigation to increase their products. But have you ever thought what could be the result? Okay, that this may lead to falling groundwater levels, adversely affecting water availability and food security of the people. So when we overexploit groundwater, then the water table will be lowered, thus affecting the water availability and the food security of the people. Just see here. Here we have this groundwater is here. Okay, just here this is the surface, and this layer contains water. Okay, here we have pebbles and the boulders, and this layer containing water is known as aquifer. Okay, and see, once the water level may be up to here, this is what we call water table. But when we over exploit it, okay, you by digging these wells and the tube wells, then the water table may be lowered. Okay, the water table may be lowered, and it may be lowered up to here. And when it is dried up, it will be very difficult to recharge also. And in this way, when there is over exploitation of the groundwater, that will affect the availability of the water. At the same time, that will affect the food security of the people. Okay, and then another important cause of water scarcity is industrialization and urbanization. So after the independence, India witnessed intensive industrialization and urbanization. Okay, and see, when there is industrialization and urbanization, that means that implies that there will be more utilization of water. Just see here, the ever increasing number of industries has made matters worse by exerting pressure on existing freshwater resources. When the number of industries is increased, then it will exert a pressure on the existing freshwater, as we have known that industries also use freshwater for different purposes. Okay, and at the same time, if the number of urban center is increased, then again it also creates a problem. See here, multiplying urban centers means increasing the number of cities in India. Okay, with large and dense population, and the urban lifestyles have not only added to water and the energy requirement, but have further aggravated the problem. So when the number of cities and the towns okay are increased, then that implies that the cities and the towns will use more water. And we know that the urban lifestyle is totally different from the rural lifestyle also, and the urban people use more water in some cases than the villages. And that okay creates or that accelerates or aggravated the problem of water scarcity. At the same time, in some cities, okay, people have their own groundwater pumping devices. They have their own tube wells. You know, tube wells uses pump sets to draw out the water, and there will be over exploitation of the groundwater in the big cities. As mentioned here, people in the rural areas have their own groundwater pumping devices to meet their water needs. And not surprisingly, we find that these fragile water resources are being overexploited and have caused their depletion in several of these cities. And because of this, there is depletion of the groundwater in the big cities. And not only this, another important cause of this water scarcity is pollution. See here, scarcity of water may be due to bad quality of water, that is pollution. Just we have seen okay here also, we have seen here also here. This is just a scene, okay, many others also there. Not only the flood water, Even the groundwater is also polluted. Then river water is polluted. Lake water is polluted. And when water is polluted, it is not fit for human use, as you know. Okay, thus it is also mentioned here. Polluted by sea. Most of the water bodies, okay, are polluted by domestic and industrial washes, chemicals, pesticides, fertilizers used in agriculture, thus making it hazardous for human use. G. From the industries, toxic waste materials, liquids are released and discharging into the water bodies, rivers, lakes, streams. And not only this, in the agriculture also we use chemical fertilizer, pesticides, and these residues, chemical residues from the agriculture field also will be coming out as a runoff and will enter the rivers and water bodies, thus polluting the water bodies. And we know that this polluted water is not fit for human use. It is hazardous. So this is another important cause of water scarcity. Just we have examples, okay? India's rivers, especially the smaller ones, have all turned into toxic streams, means polluted. And even the big ones like Ganga and Yamuna also highly polluted, okay? And see, this may be due to the pollution of these India's river may be due to population growth, then agricultural modernization, then urbanization and industrialization. Okay, that we have discussed earlier. So we have already realized that the need of the hour is to conserve and manage our water resources, to safeguard ourselves from health hazards, to ensure food security and the continuation of our livelihoods and productive activities, and also to prevent the degradation of our natural ecosystems. So in the previous pages, we have learned that, okay, we have shortage of water in some places, and different causes of shortage of water we have analyzed, and one of the most important one is the pollution of the water resources. Okay, and now we have known that we need, because of all the problems mentioned above, okay, we have come to know that conservation of water is needed. Conservation and the proper management of water is the need of the hour. Okay, to safeguard our health and to have a sustainable life in the future. Okay, any question, boys and girls? Boys and girls, do you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Can you tell me what are the important causes of water scarcity in India? Can you summarize me? The first important one is the variation in the seasonal and the annual precipitation. Okay. Another one is overexploitation. Third one is unequal access to water among different social groups. Fourth one is about the rapid increase in the population. Okay. At the same time, there will be consequent demand for water for irrigation purposes. And at the same time, there is overutilization of the surface as well as groundwater, as mentioned here. Okay. And another important cause is rapid industrialization and urbanization. Explanation is given here. Okay, increasing number of industries might give a pressure on the existing water resources. Then multiplying urban centers, okay, require more water, thus aggravating the problems. Then the last but not the least one is pollution. Okay, Because of the bad quality of water, there is scarcity of water. And so these are the important causes of water. Okay, but you must know that in scarcity water is also dependent on the geology of the place also, or sometimes mismanagement of water is also there. Okay, it is also mentioned here. For example, this Meghalaya Shillong plateau. Okay, Shillong, as you know, it receives heavy rainfall, but at the same time this city faces this water scarcity. It may be due to the mismanagement as well as due to the geology of the place. You know, Shillong plateau is covered with hard rocks only, and so there is little absorption of water in the underground also. Most of the water, rainwater, is wasted as a runoff. So that may be one of the causes. At the same time, there may be mismanagement also there, and that is why there is scarcity of water. Likewise, in other places also, due to sometimes mismanagement, sometimes due to over exploitation, you will find water scarcity. Okay, so up to here for today, and next time we shall discuss about how can we conserve and manage these water resources. Okay, and let me tell you something. So when you while sending the attendance, so please mention your roll number and a section in addition to the name. Okay, so once again, thank you very much for joining my class. Thank you all.